But when I watch out their faces, mama, yo, like they're going mad. It must be the budget that the man from White call it read. Cause all of them inside a day like they suck a crazy seed. That kind of hair couldn't come from weed. This is not a fet in here, this is madness. This is not the kind of jam where you stand like a choopy begging for mercy. This is not a fet in here, this is madness. Everybody mad. Where we going? Where we going? Where we going? Why we going there? We mad. We're gonna not say that. We mad. We're gonna not say that. If you see the glasses thing, the one who does line with brown, the same one who used to walk the road like she can't touch the ground. Since she lost, she takes the cover. If you see the child getting on kind of wild and wassy like wassy going out of style. Brown who down in head and ball, how she feeling shame. How she have about 12 GC and she went to holy name. Same time an ex-cute man pass and gone with the dame. Cause this is not a fet in here, this is madness. This is not the kind of jam where you stand like a mumu, the rhythm go jam you. This is not a fet in here, this is madness. Everybody mad. Where we going? Where we going? Where we going? Why we going there? Where we going? Why we going there? It's not a big French Creole one, they just call him Pierre. We went the hot dog down with somebody, half a beer. Then he snatch up the pepper sauce, mama, he drinking that. Start to cuss up the barman saying, how the beer so flat. It was Wednesday morning gone, the man business place closed down. So when you check out the fella position, you can't get him wrong. He and an ex-union man hug up singing the song. Hear them, this is not a fet in here, this is madness. This is not the kind of jam where you stand like a mumu, the rhythm go jam you. This is not a fet in here, this is madness. Everybody mad. Where we going? Where we going? Where we going? All our way. Why we going there? We mad. Where we go?
Okay, I apologize for being late. I had to make a stop. Somebody in my house needed to get a portion of French fries at Wendy's. So I went down to get the fries and I come back and I'm late. So sorry I'm late, but that's no excuse for all you to not be sharing the video. So share the video wild and mad, like share it like licks, share it like peanut butter, share the live everywhere. Let me drive up the numbers. Let people know we're outside here and we're out and bad. Tonight, finding hope. Finding hope. Play music till all the shit. Are they ready? I think I'm David Rudder's biggest fan, you know. I mean, seriously. The man brilliant. He brilliant. Like this one. This one is bad.
Tennis rolling, people on the floor. Hear the guitar man grumble, and the crowd in a uproar. All of a sudden, everything is up and chill. Everything is on to a standstill. The crowd started to hear. We're on with the band. It was the rock with the iron gone fall because the vibration was very well in. When the iron fall,
I've just shared on my WhatsApp. I went to Facebook and I clicked share underneath the video. And underneath the video, they have options to share the video. And one of them is copy link. And I copied the link. I'm on my phone. And I copied the link. And then I went to my WhatsApp group. And I shared it there. So people who are not on Facebook right now, phone just buzz a little bit. And they turn it on and they see, fell inside. So you could do the same thing and let everybody know, right? Because tonight we're in the engine room.
The engine room is not the way that's caused the bacchanal. The pan is the body, but the rhythm is harder the thing. The engine room, that is the soul of carnival. Oh, read it down well, say if you iron good, you is king. You hear?
If you're iron good, you is king. To the people who just asked me how come I shave, today I had no choice. Here now, and I didn't want to shave it, and worse, I had no water. So I had to bathe in a bucket and shave in a bowl. But I had to shave today, and I make all the excuses, and I say to everybody, I apologize, and we're going forward from here, natural. Today needed to shave though. With regards to the no roti for Lent, all bets off. All bets, this is how you're supposed to wear the shirt, you know. Gangster. All bets off. All bets off. Listening to all of the silence, the opposition, all of the political parties that jump out their bad self. We out in it. And listening to the silence. Every now and then, one of them will scratch the crotch and tell you, hey, we just support the government. That's not the role of political parties. That's not the role of politics. Not to be silent. That's how dictatorships start. When you all want to sit down and clap like trained seals, I watched the media today. The entire donkey squad. You crack a joke, I laugh. You crack a joke, I laugh. Make sure I get invited to the media party this year. I want my hamper. This is not a real country. Yet, you could make it one because you have a choice. You have a champion. Yeah, I know sometimes you see the cult members. Somebody messaged me today, my friend from Arima. She said, why them people on that Newsday article attack you so? I said, let me explain something to you. Philip Edward Alexander is the undoing of the Balize cult. Philip Edward Alexander is the undoing of the Balize cult. Philip Edward Alexander is opening eyes and freeing minds, and they can't take that. If there's one person they had hate when slavery was coming to an end, it was a woman named Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman was free. She make it out. If you have any idea, no matter what they tell you, how bad slavery was, it was worse. They have things they couldn't tell you in stories. They have things they couldn't show you, what they do them people. I mean, the slave owners and all of the people, massa, all of the overseers, they should be down in hell. And Satan should be riding them. Because you can't tell me that you so stupid, you don't know that's a human being that you're dealing with. I have difficulty hitting my dog. You trying to tell me you didn't know that that was humans? That you were, well, the law say, the law. The law. We have a duty. I want to redo your hair. I feel like running my fingers through your hair. These live videos getting a little more than G-rated. Adnan Ghani, it starts with a lot more than that, and I told you all already. The opposition job is not to sit on their ass in the parliament. The opposition job is to be on the ground. The opposition job is to be up in the government grill. The opposition job is to tear all of it apart. The opposition job is to shine a light on everything that Rowley say. The opposition job in the Vatican, there is a person, a cardinal, whose job it is to represent Satan Anytime you come to deify somebody, you know, deify means make somebody into a saint. When they want to make somebody a saint, when they propose, let's make this person a saint. Pope John Paul II, let me make him a saint. Mother Teresa, let me make her a saint. What was the one who was bleeding the other day? Paddy. Make him a saint. There is a man, a cardinal in the Vatican, whose job it is to represent Satan. This is not a lie. He is given an office and a staff. He represents the devil. He is the devil's lawyer. He is the devil's advocate. That's where the saying come from. When you hear people say, I'm playing devil's advocate, I is the lawyer representing Satan. And that's what it's for. The opposition job is to, Padre Pio, the opposition job is to find everything wrong. Anything wrong. But they're not doing it because I am. And all the Vassan Barretts and the Stephen Cadises and the Mariano Browns, all of them just push pause. Because they bring nothing to the table but stunting politics. And they can't tell you what they're supposed to be saying right now. Right now, when people challenge me for standing up to the government, them fellas paid millions of dollars, you know. I'm not paid to do what I do. I do this for the glory of Trinidad and Tobago. And one day, we may actually be a country where if I say to you tonight, Tobago is connected by an air bridge and a sea bridge. And I waited to hear how long it would take. Because I told you all on the 16th of March, there is something that I am not saying. And I waited. And I waited. Today, you're closing Tobago. Today, you close the air bridge. But all you could still go on the sea bridge. Which is, that is jackassness, and it's stupid. Because we had the opportunity to isolate Tobago. Cut it off. If you're in Trinidad and you're supposed to be in Tobago, you have 24 hours. And if you're in Tobago and you're supposed to be in, and you need to be in Trinidad, you have 24 hours. And both ways, quarantine. Both ways. Close the airport in Tobago. Close the seaport to anything but transport, but goods, but food and medicine, etc. And protect the people of Tobago. We would have been able to say 56,000 people free. And that's where I was going with this slave talk. Because Harriet Tubman had made it out. She was free. And Harriet went back into hell to pull slaves out. Harriet was free. She had made her way out of hell. And she went back to pull others out. And Harriet, in her exhaustion, one day said, I freed 1,000 slaves. I would have freed 1,000 more. I could have freed 1,000 more if only they knew they were slaves. Massa Churan, oh God, man. Massa, where you get this overseer from? The last fella, when he beat me, I used to have to sleep for 3 days. This man barely hobbling me when he hit me. He's a joker. And I don't know what is going on in the kitchen, but last night I only get 1 cockroach in my food. What's going on? What's going on? Is this a real plantation or not? Massa? Massa, it's a long time since somebody and ride past on a horse and kick me in my face. The plantation closing down, we need to know. Chinese live like that. Chinese live like that. Chinese will fight you for trying to rescue them. But you're damn fast. Who tell you that I want to come out of the shit that I am? Who tell you that? Who tell you that up to my neck in raw sewage is uncomfortable to me? In fact, if tomorrow Keith Rowley say, more sewage for all you, you know what he doing? And in the fullness of time, you will come to see why the more shit they give we, the better for we. That's how Trinis has behaved. Cult members. Cult members. UNC people saw too, you know. UNC. Kamala cussing, she damn right. She supposed to cuss. Kamala not cussing, she damn right. She not supposed to cuss. Kamala here, she damn right. This is where she supposed to be. Kamala not here, she damn right. Go from here. We don't think anymore of ourselves. We don't. We don't. If Rudal Mudilal in the UNC, PNM work is to cuss him that bag of alu. But we hate he boy. Why he don't want dead? And if tomorrow some deal strike and Rudal become a PNM, like how some of them convenient politicians, they switch sides. Imagine Rudal pull up on a platform, boy, call me, say our latest member, and the same Warahun that used to cuss him will deify him. We always used to like him. Remember when he used to talk in that parliament? Boy, you're good on your feet and are looking to hear you speak for the PNM now. And we like that. And why we like that? What did they do us that made us so? Rowley damn right, don't close no borders. Carnival, carnival. This culture. Rowley damn right, close the freaking borders. You know they have a virus outside there. Who tell them go on the ship 2 days after we was whining in the street? Oh, you mad? It's 48 hours past. In them 48 hours, coronavirus born, spread around the world. You was to know better. Somebody asked me, what would the Progressive Empowerment Party do? Have done if we were in government? So I had to, you know, sometimes I had to talk in a way that is push past the yampy in the ears. I know the yampy is for your eyes, but some of them, like that yampy in the ears too. And I said, what should have been done, what a Progressive Empowerment Party government would have done by January 15th, when we knew what was coming, we would have shut the airports and the sea entries down. It was not the carnival. It was the tourists. It was the foreigners bringing that gift that keeps on giving. COVID-19. How you feeling? We gave it to you for free. We didn't charge you. We brought it and you didn't even know you was getting it. It was like a surprise. How you all feeling tonight? We would have shut the airport and the sea entries down. It was not the carnival jackasses. It was the foreigners. It was the tourists. It was those who went because 90%, as Sean Sunarain say, 90% of our 50,000 tourists that come in here come from New York City. New York City. That is now ground zero for COVID-19 in America. 100 people there today. 2 weeks ago, there was here. Push back, mama, push back, come on. The stage gone bad. No? What else ain't gone bad? And we cool with our hypocrisy, the complexity of the idiocy of the average Trini. We would have shut the airport and the sea entries down. It was not the carnival. It was the tourists. Shut the borders. Any citizens, Trinidadians and Tobagonians are talking about, returning home, they would have been hearing kang kalang kalang kalang, alarm, woo woo woo, alarm bells, sirens, the world on fire. The world coming to an end. We hearing it, we seeing it. Al Jazeera, CNN, MTV talking about this. So they know. And we would have contacted them as best as possible. And they would have seen it on Facebook. Because the government say, all Trinis who not home in 48 hours, cock your ass where you are and ride out this storm. You have 48 hours. And then we will close the airport, take the computers out of the air traffic control, turn off the lights. So if you still come and try and land, we're going to put the army there with some guns and shoot all of you because the border's closed. We can't do like Putin. Putin released 500 lion and 800 tiger, all in the, because Russia is the biggest country in the world and they have no way to police all of it. So you say, you know what? Or they're listening to me or they're staying inside with a lion or a tiger eat you. And this is true story. But Trinidad don't have that. I mean, the most we could do is release more potong. But we have Chinese people here, and they mightn't survive. The truth of the matter is, and that was just a joke, don't get carried away. But the truth of the matter is, we could have, if we wanted to, shut this country down. And tonight, we would still have 0 COVID-19 cases. And people will be saying, but what wrong with this government, boy? They overdo it, eh? They didn't have to shut down. Tanti could have come. And they will bad talk we. And no problem. And nobody would be going on world odometers and watching the constant rundown. Nobody would have to be waiting to see Coleman Stewart and Rowley face and listen to them talk a crocus bag of ass. You wouldn't. Because we would have none. We'd have none. Because, according to Terry, I feel we're getting to know the answer well enough that we could call him Terry. According to Terry, all of our COVID-19 cases stepped off planes. They traveled here. So imagine January 15th. We'd stop them there. Close the borders. Talking close the borders 4 years now. If they had done the close the borders 4 years ago, we didn't have the 200,000 Venezuelans here now that's starving. We have Venezuelans who left hell in Venezuela to come to a next level in hell at Trinidad that they can't walk. They can't walk. They can't do nothing. You can't even prostitute yourself because people, they don't have a condom for your whole body. And while you could strap up your head and don't get HIV, the rest of you exposed to COVID-19 seems to be worse. So you can't even prostitute yourself. You can't sell it, you can't lend it out, you can't give it away. The Venezuelans who are in Trinidad, those 200,000 people, that is a growing mass of hunger that I didn't hear Rowley talk about today. When you just point out your plan, your 3 little food support, $510 per month for 3 months for households where a family member was retrenched, terminated, or income reduced. Now, I ain't taking it apart. I'm leaving it. Because some of these things had to bite me in the ass for us to say, but all you could have known, all you should have known, why didn't tell we? Some of them things, all you had to know for all yourself. Some of them things, all you had to know good enough for all yourselves. But the food support, salary relief grant. Citizens who have lost income, citizens, that word, I think it stops there. Citizens who have lost income as a result of the current environment will have access to $1,500 per month for over a 3-month period from the National Insurance Board. Your rent is $4,500, the government give you $1,500, tell the landlord, bear with you now. The landlord going to Scotia, bear with me now. Scotia sending people to repossess the man house. And the banks are not supposed to give you grace. Right now, this hit, the banks have to take a hit too. And this whole quarter, the banks had a write-off interest. All of it. So all them 3 payments for the next 3 months, write it off. Write it off. Take a tiny hit on the $1 billion profit this year. Write it off. Because the citizens need to survive. And they need to restart after this clusterfuckery while you just looking to move more decimal points around on your spreadsheet and improve the quality of the silk you're farting through at night. But the banks have to tell the nation state of Trinidad and Tobago, we are deferring all loan payments for the next 3 months. Consider it paid. Courts, we are deferring all loan payments for the next 3 months. Consider it paid. Because if you don't, I will wait until this done. And let me tell you something. I will do everything in my power to mobilize Trinidad and Tobago to drive all you out of business. And if that don't happen, if we get into government, I promise you, I will give you so much competition, they will forget your name. The Venezuelans who cannot work, they were the first ones fired. They were the first ones fired. And they can't work. They're living on their little savings now. They can't get the rental assistance. They're not citizens. They can't get the food support. They're not citizens. They can't get the salary relief grant. They're not citizens. So the money gonna run out, and the landlord who rented them the rooms, because they have landlords in Trinidad and Tobago taking advantage of Venezuelan people and renting them one room in the house for 9 people to live in and charging them $3,000 a month. But the Venezuelans don't have much choice right now. So they're taking that hit. That same landlord who's been eating a better quality of beef in his pale house since the Bennies come, he gonna come and try and turn the heat up. Because if all you can't pay me for my room, all you gotta get out. I need to eat all you with all your Venezuelan Spanish talk in my head all day. You ain't paying me all your ass. That mass of people, do not ignore that it exists. Do not. Them come from tear gas and rubber bullets. Water cannon dancing, they know that. Do not ignore that. We have a country to run. Instead of managing the Venezuelan refugee crisis the way it should have been managed, created a facilitation so that they could find themselves into countries that could have absorbed them. We could have negotiated. Canada want the next 1 million people today. Canada want the next 1 million people today. The whole 200,000 Bennies, we could have checked them, vet them, background check them, and ship them out because Trinidad can't hold them. And this was what I always said. The moment there's a hiccup of any kind, I was expecting earthquake, hurricane, oil price collapse. I was not anticipating a global virus. Because what makes it a clusterfuck for us is that there is nobody riding to Trinidad's rescue now. The drug lords sitting on their trillions of dollars are going to entrench themselves further. But when your prime minister said today, with pride, he spoke about the resource that we have in this country in the banks. I said the PNM is now renting itself out as PRO for the banking cartel. Because Rowley had no business doing that. Unless he was coming to say to Trinidad and Tobago that the banking cartel as one have said, all of you who have any interest on your credit card, we defer it for the next 3 months. Pump your brakes. Don't panic about that. All of you who have loans to pay, we will defer it. Consider it paid. But he didn't do that. And all of you who still clapping like seals, all of you out there clapping like seals, I want to tell you something, eh? Economies are at play now. Globally. Economies are at play. Donald Trump had a press conference today, and all of you who on Facebook tying all yourself in knots about Donald Trump. Yeah, all of the study, you know. Donald Trump said today, that's it. We are no longer going to be at the mercy of coronavirus. So that means the United States of America has just put everything on a war footing where COVID-19 is concerned. You can laugh at that. But I want to tell you, they have the ability to isolate, contain, and shut it down. And he knows that. And he knows that the Food and Drug Administration had said to him that the malaria drug coupled with azithromycin, which is what I have been told, is doing well against COVID-19. That it's breaking it. You see, all you need to do is break the hole. You just have to damage it a little bit. You don't have to cure it, you know. The body will destroy it, but it overwhelms compromised immune systems. It overwhelms it. So, and for the people who not understanding, if a mosquito bites you, and you get dengue fever, while you have COVID-19, you're dead. Because your immune system battling already, and it's against the ropes already. But anyway, finding hope. I heard for the first time today, and I felt hope when the American Surgeon General said to the world, because take note, Italy, good screw this planet. Italy, northern Italy specifically, all the crocodile tears you're crying, Italy did this to the world. China, we were containing it in China. Nobody knew the jackassery, the direct road between northern Italy and China. Nobody knew about the direct flights from Wuhan, the contagion center. When the world was shutting it down, nobody knew the jackass of a mayor of Italy was encouraging his citizens to go and find a Chinese person and hug them. The exact opposite of social distancing. And he, I am saying to the world again, take him before the Hague. He is guilty of war crimes. What China did to the world, and somebody tell me today about how China industry is this and China production is that. Listen, and a red-skinned fella tell me today, the Prime Minister's office and a pink donkey, I will never see. I say, but look, a pink donkey barking at me now. I see this one, so the next one is the Prime Minister's office. To the man who said that everything that China have and China does, the world is driven by consumption demand. If we stop buying McDonald's, and McDonald's cannot buy the toys from China, that company has to find somewhere else to output its throughput. And that is just a tiny example. A tiny example. Jillian Rooks, the federal government has now taken control of the United States COVID-19 response. China's entire economy could be collapsed tomorrow. You see the way you all finally understanding the public's response. Turn it to anything. If you turn this same stay home, this passion, this energy that getting all of us to stay home, turn that on KFC. Everybody. If KFC don't cut their price in half, we ain't buying there again. Christian Booty had to call the board of directors quickly. 3 days later, boss, we lost $50 million. It's either we close down or we drop the price. The people have spoken. You see, if Chinese now flip the script and tell the banks, all right, hear what? If we're not getting interest on our money, we pull in with money. And if everybody pull their money, the banks cannot do business. We need to get to a place where as consumers, we are represented everywhere. Now that you see, this is what we've been telling you. Carol Taylor said it is not approved for treatment of COVID-19. It is in the experimental stages and it has been given the green light. It is already in human trials. So approval should come in 7 days. But the United States of America are going to do two things. And I want you to hear me say this. They are going to roll back COVID-19 in America. And then they are going to destroy China's economy. Watch and see. Because anything they tell you, tell them, sprinkle holy water on this and dance wrong. Hey, 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 hey. What I'm about to tell you here. America's consumption runs the world. America's consumption runs the world. If tomorrow Donald Trump passes a law giving all American businesses 72 hours to return manufacturing to the States, China done. All China labor will turn on their government as starvation sets in quick time. The world does not need China. So miss me with that bullshit. China benefits from global consumption, and that's a given. but we could change all of it. And COVID-19, coronavirus, has told us that we could. That we could. You see, the New World Order bullshit is why tonight we could count all the countries that have it. Because governments were loath to blame those responsible. We reached to a point in global politics where we don't know if we can blame the person responsible. What absolute insanity. Huanan Seafood Market was where this virus, what connected all 41 of the first people to have it was that seafood market. Now, some of you are out there walking around saying, some lab created this and dropped it in there. Epidemiologists are telling you all that coronaviruses mutate. This is just a mutation. This is not the killer virus to wipe out the world. It cannot. Understand our worst case scenario. I am not advocating for this, but if the world had done nothing, it would have wiped out a lot of the elders and those at risk with compromised immune system. The rest of the world would have been, nothing would have happened. So worst case scenario, the population of the planet would have dropped from 7.7 to 7.5. So why didn't we say all of the people at risk, isolate yourselves as we get on top of this? Because what we've done, and you can't ignore this, because your job is going to go away. While you're fighting me on Facebook, the company you work for is going to close down if we do this for more than 2 months. The economy is a movement of money. I wanted to read something for you all. Let me see if I can find it. Just give me 1 minute. And while that's going on, I'll give you something to listen to.
Well, this one is about uniting the nation. Why can't they all get along? Yeah, why we fuss and fight? Tonight we got to unite. Listen, Marshall and Super. What you say? Nothing wrong with penning on that Indian girl. Nothing wrong with penning on that Chinese girl. Nothing wrong with penning on that African girl. Nothing wrong with penning on that Syrian girl. Let's do the thing.
Alright, I'm loving this song. I could have stopped it a while now. This explains the economy to you. Trust me, it is a joke, but it is how economies work. It is a slow day in a little village. The rain is beating down and the streets are deserted. Times are tough, everybody is in debt, and everybody lives on credit. On this particular day, a rich tourist is driving through the village, stops at the local hotel, and lays a $100 note on the desk, telling the hotel owner he wants to inspect the rooms upstairs in order to pick one to spend the night. The owner gives him some keys And as soon as the visitor has walked upstairs, the hotelier grabs the $100 note and runs next door to pay his debt to the butcher. The butcher takes the $100 note and runs down the street to repay his debt to the pig farmer. The pig farmer takes the $100 note and heads off to pay his bill at the supplier of feeds and fuel. The guy at the farmer's co-op with the feed and the fuel takes the $100 note and runs to pay his drinks bill at the tavern. The man who owns the tavern slips the money along to the local prostitute drinking at the bar, who has also been facing hard times and has had to offer him services on credit. The prostitute then rushes to the hotel and pays off her room bill to the hotel owner with the $100 note. The hotel proprietor then places the $100 note back on the counter, so the rich traveler will not suspect anything. At that moment, the traveler comes down the stairs, picks up the $100 note, states that the rooms are not satisfactory, pockets the money and leaves town. No one produced anything. No one earned anything. However, the whole village is now out of debt and looking to the future with optimism. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how economies work. You hear them, maths? Understand that the things that is most important in the world of economics, finance, budgets, government, the most important thing is you. Your consumption drives your labor generally. And what that means is a person who wants to own a house and earns $5,000 a month, but the bank tells him you can't qualify for the house unless you're earning $7,000 a month, will get a second job. So now he's doing two jobs because his labor is being driven by his consumption. There are other people whose consumption is dictated by their labor. If you're trapped in a situation, you can't get a second job, you can't improve, you had to cut your cloth, you had to make your suit, or just cut your cloth to suit the whatever, cut your pattern to suit the cloth. Pastor Phillip, indeed. So your consumption is what business people get into business for. When they go to the bank or to a financer and said, I would like to open a business selling cupcakes, and I could make 100 cupcakes a day, and it'll cost me 50 cents, and I could sell it for $1, and I know Trinis eat cupcakes, and that there are 1 million people, and if I set up in this area, they have 10,000 people, and there already is a store selling cupcakes, and they sell for $2, and I have eaten their cupcakes, and I think I can make a better cupcake, and I could live on 50 cents a cupcake for now until I drive them out of business. That's basically how businesses get into business. But the bank's interest is in that person's ability to pay back the loan. And their ability to pay back the loan is predicated on your consumption. Do you understand that? KFC, Royal Castle, McDonald's, Burger King, all of them are built on one premise: your consumption. Without your consumption, the business fails. Now, what pushes the economy along is that you like cupcakes and you work in the gas station and you buy cupcakes and your budget allows you to pay $1. So you're glad that the dollar cupcake open and you're buying dollar cupcakes every day. And then dollar cupcake closed down to dollar cupcake and raised his cupcake to $1.50. You're still working in the gas station, but you can't afford $1.50 cupcakes. So you look for a better job because your cost of living just got higher and your earnings have to keep up with your cost of living. So the gas station lost an employee because you need to get, and they send you to school, and you're going to get a degree, and you get a first degree, and then a bachelor's degree, and then a master's, and you get a doctorate. All of it is chasing consumption. Chasing consumption. Everybody in this country needs to know that 30 years ago, a Yaris of today has more features than the best car in the world 30 years ago. 30 years ago. The average human alive today, the average middle class person, not even middle class, lower to middle class person alive today lives a better life than Rome's Caesar, the king of Egypt. For all their power, they didn't have access to what you have. You could control the environment you live in. You could go and be entertained at your will. You could get on a plane and go around the world. They couldn't do any of those things. They couldn't do any of those things. But we reached a place where everybody, so that cycle that I just tell you, with the employee and the cupcakes and the bank and the cupcakes, extrapolate that 1,000,000%. And that's the economy. And that's what drives the economy. So when you ask yourself, when I was small, because when I, Phillip Edward Alexander, was small, a little boy, my father used to have a store on Western Main Road, St. James, called His and Hers Alexander's. And His and Hers Alexander's was a small cloth store. And every day after school, me and my brother would go to His and Hers Alexander's. And my father would give each of us 25 cents. I am 53. So this was 43 years ago. No, I would have been 15. So this is about 38 years ago. My father would give me 25 cents. And I would walk down Clarence Street to the little side street across from the school. It's not a long walk. It's about 3 buildings down. It's just past the church and the school, round the corner. They have a little shop. And the man would be expecting me. And I'd hand him my 25 cents. And he'd give me a glass bottle Coke, and he would open the can and give me 4 coconut biscuits. And they were nice coconut biscuits, and they had lines across the top. Just the biscuit was shaped like that. And I used to like to eat it according to the lines. But that would be what I get at the end of the day. I'd Coke, and I'd look forward to my 25 cents. And looking back at it now, I think about how hard my father had to work for that 25 cents. Because in today's money, that 25 cents is $7 at the very minimum. At the very minimum, that 25 cents is $7. Now, how did 25 cents worth of purchase get to $7 in such a short space of time? And that is demand for profit. Because that's what drives the economy. Greed. Now, if you ever watch the movie Wall Street, Michael Douglas has a scene where he says greed is good. And greed drives invention. And it does. But it does it by exploiting labor and consumption. What is ironic is all business needs labor and consumption to survive. So the dance is to pull labor along, because consumption, and the same people who are increasing their prices don't want to pay their workers more. So they're looking to automate. And I remember when Henry Ford was given the opportunity, because he didn't invent the assembly line. I think it was Birdseye, the man who invented, I think it was Birdseye. I know for certain it was somebody in the food industry. And Clarence Birdseye who is Bird's Eye Frozen Foods. I think it was him, but it could be another one of them that invented the assembly line. Henry Ford just made it massive and did it for cars, and he was able to make a car a day. When they offered Henry Ford, the next step was to automate the factory, and it would save him millions. You would be able to fire half them workers. And Henry Ford asked him, so who will buy Ford cars? Who will buy it? The problem with the world right now is that the whole model gone wonky. It is either exploitation labor. So check what's going on, right? So China, Chester Birch would say in Washington Carver, give me some more information, I'll tell you if I agree. China and India, 30 years ago, were at the bottom of the socio-economic ladder in the world. What America has been doing is moving its consumption around the world, and everywhere it touches with its insatiable need for consumption, it creates an economy. So China's whole economy, I cannot say this enough, China's whole economy is built on American consumption. Without American consumption, all the Belt and Road you get it, all of that, going nowhere. China dead. India dead without America. India had the largest middle class in the world, built on American consumption. On American consumption. We live in a world, the models don't make sense. Cristiano Ronaldo owns hotels. Rihanna is able to give the world 5 million US to contribute towards COVID-19. Actors, entertainers, sportsmen and women, they get a lot of money because that money allows them to advertise brands, and the advertising of the brands, and this is why they get a lot of money, the advertising of the brands drives sales, and the sales is built on greed and your consumption and your labor. BlackBerry phones didn't die because of anything BlackBerry did, you know. BlackBerry was the gold standard for telecommunications for about 5 years. That's a long, long time in the data-driven world. But when Steve Jobs and Apple introduced the first iPhone, and consumption demand swung from BlackBerry to Apple, it made Apple the biggest company in the world, and it shut BlackBerry down. And BlackBerry was the biggest at the time. And you need to see what I'm saying to you. Because if you get what I'm telling you at all, you'll understand why we have Starbucks in Trinidad and Rituals in Trinidad. Rituals is selling us a brand of coffee called Avaza. I don't know if Starbucks uses their own brand, but chances are it's the same mass producer selling all. But Trinidad coffee not selling. Even though Hong Wing coffee is a better coffee than both of them. Because Hong Wing coffee has not been capitalized, financed, and marketed like Starbucks is. So when you go, if you ever watch the movie Falling Down with Michael Douglas again, Michael Douglas in Falling Down was in a restaurant, and he was a normal human being, a normal man whose life was falling apart, and he was falling with it. And he was there in this restaurant, and he was screaming at the manager, why the sandwich that comes in the box doesn't look, it was a fast food restaurant, why doesn't it look like the picture on the menu board? But in marketing we learn, and this is where communications has been used against humanity. Marketing, just now Randolph asked me that question again. Marketing has created in people's minds a false narrative. So even though what you get doesn't look like what's on the board or what they've advertised, you ever see when they advertise, mommy come home with a bucket of KFC, cannot cover, and it's a mountain of chicken? You ever notice that? And when you go and buy a KFC bucket of chicken, the halfway down inside is the cover, and below that is chicken. But in your mind, because of advertising, creating something in your mind called mind share, they're taking up a space in your mind. That's what mind share means, you know. And all advertising wants is mind share in your head. And they get you to believe that what you are eating is what they told you were eating. And that's insane. That we've been herded as a people based on the response to our own consumption demands turned against us. It is our consumption. If tomorrow Trinidadians decided they wanted a curry chicken flavor, not KFC, not the Colonel's recipe anymore, KFC dead. In India, they had to introduce a curry chicken flavor or die. I remember the first time McDonald's was in Trinidad. And I went to the McDonald's where Super Farm is now in Westmoreland. And I asked for pepper sauce. And the manager, who is a Trini, scoffed at me and said, "This is McDonald's. We don't serve pepper sauce." I said, "Well, you ain't gonna ask in Trinidad." Because in Trinidad, pepper sauce is the culture. If you want to come inside of this guile to play, give me what we see and what we know. Digicel has done that masterfully. Digicel has sold itself so ingrained in our culture. Courts did it too. Courts use Errol Fabian's face, voice, and humor to con you into thinking Courts is part of you. Because that's associative branding and goodwill. All of it is your consumption. So they create the advertising and they sell you a message come Christmas time. You must smell paint. You must see new drapery. You must hear they buy new furniture. We live in a world where furniture is supposed to last 100 years. And that the best of it go on to become classics and antiques. But they've turned our consumption against us. And it's no longer meeting needs. It's attached to pride. So people will buy a new washing machine and put the box outside. But when the garbage truck come, bring the box back inside. Let the garbage truck go. It needs to be outside there in the garbage for about 4 days. So people know you get a new washing machine. And I'm saying all of this so that you understand. I mean, I sure must have bored some of you because you feel, what the hell, we come to Phillip tonight for school. But you need to understand the power of your consumption. The absolute power of it. The entire economy of Trinidad and Tobago is built on it. And extrapolate you as population of the world, when you see the conditions that the people live under who grow the palm oil that's in all of your, go in your cupboard in your kitchen, and all the fancy brands you buy, all the Nutella, all the Peter Pan, all of them, go and look at the brands and look for something inside called palm oil. And palm oil is doing more to destroy planet Earth and rainforests than anything else. And you, who are a good person, who would never burn down a rainforest or cut down a tree, every time you buy a product made with palm oil, your demand, your consumption is killing baby orangutans, destroying their habitat, replacing old world growth forests hundreds of years old with palm trees for palm oil. And they kill the animals who try to eat the palms, who try to eat the palm nuts. They kill those animals because they want to make money. And that money, that profit, is your consumption. And you have to know that. And you have to understand that the whole world model is based on a consumption model that you drive by your choices. It is why I tell people I don't own any jewelry at all. When I found out what diamond mining and gold mining does to the planet and how it exploits people, especially people in poor countries in South America and Africa and even China, I stopped owning anything like that. When I found out what it takes to make a cell phone, I was disgusted. And I hate the fact that needs demands that I own a cell phone. I could only tell myself to sleep at night that my phone works for the betterment of the world more than it serves me, and that if I wasn't doing this, I would gladly live without a cell phone. I don't need to be in contact 24/7. I don't need to be. And there was a time before I knew better. I had the first Motorola Razor in Trinidad. And my desire to own that was ridiculous. And I would have done anything to get it. And that's the power of advertising. And it's the power of marketing. And it's transference of my sense of identity into what I owned. This is a Barcelona jacket because I support Barcelona. But this is an old jacket, and it is one jacket I own because I like Barcelona football. I bought this when Ronaldinho. This was before Messi. Barca is my side. But I don't have, and I'm not knocking your consumption, don't get me wrong, but I want you to know two things. Your consumption drives the prices of the market. They've created a world where they've isolated us. I read a book a long time ago when divorce had become a thing. And they made divorce fashionable. Movies are used to create public style and fashion. When you see on the movie, you want to come home and imitate that. And movies started to sell the idea that it is better for families that they break up. Because businesses realized that they had peaked. The size of the market had peaked for major appliances. And that if you broke the family into two, you would sell another fridge, another stove, another washer, another dryer. The laptop that you see reflected in my glasses, I bought from Gordon Gonzalez in 2009. We've changed the keyboard. We've changed keyboard twice, the keys. We've changed the light for the keys once. We've changed the trackpad twice. We've changed the battery 3 times. And I'm on my 3rd screen. Gordon Gonzalez, Wright Enterprises, right there in Maraval, downstairs Linda's. My laptop, 12 years old. And for as long, and it gives me trouble. It gives me trouble. There's things about my trackpad right now that if you try to use it, you couldn't. You couldn't use it. Because you have to understand the insanity of how this thing works now. But it still serves my needs. And I can afford to buy a better one, a brand new one, right now. But I understand that what I need to be using my money for has nothing to do with naked consumerism. So until my clothes get holes, Ricky, if you just joined the conversation and you didn't hear, rewind after and listen to the whole thing. Because I answered all of that already. But all I have are Apple devices. And I tell myself that Apple devices last. Because I am proof of concept. The phone that I am actually broadcasting on, because I have two phones, but the one that I am broadcasting on, the battery is stone dead. It has to be plugged in 24/7. Its only purpose is when I use it for a broadcast. And it serves that purpose. So the screen has a big crack. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a picture of my setup for you to see. Right now. And I'm going to post it so you'll understand. This is my setup. Here. There's a crack right across the screen. There's tape holding together the device that holds the phone. If you think that this is a massive organization going on here, Kami Maraj, you could hate it as much as you want. I want to tell you something. Because it lasts so long, I tell myself I am contributing less to the damage of the environment. But can I load this picture to the screen? I will try now. I don't know if it could load while it's live. I don't know if it takes pictures while it's live. Alright, no, that's not what I want. Yeah, I guess I had to take it so. Wait, now this show running over an hour. I don't know if I could do it. I'm gonna try one more time. And if I can, you get a picture right now to show you my setup. Write a comment. It doesn't give me a chance to do a picture yet. So after the show, I have the picture and I'll send it for you. But the point I'm trying to make is, this phone that you're watching me on, this phone, antique, compared to other phones. It's already past the planned obsolescence. It already planned that, past that. The screen is cracked. The battery, it have no battery. Yeah? And I guess where I was going with this whole conversation, where I was going with it, is that if there's any takeaway from COVID-19, coronavirus, learn your power. Each and every citizen are like raindrops. We could irrigate, we could quench thirst, and we could flood. We've been flooding for a long time. It's time to use our power for good. You are labor, you are consumption, you are vote. To the country, that's what you are. Labor, consumption, and vote. And if you use all three in your best, look at my glasses. Look at this. Anthony Defoe owns Boddington Optical. The lady who owns 800 Eyes, I think that's the name of it, a year now, trying to give me glasses. I bought one from the optical place in Westmore. It cost $1,000. Anthony Defoe gave me one. And this, I have two of these that cost $60 each in Starlight Drugs. One for upstairs, one for downstairs. My reading glasses. I do not. I own 2 pocket squares because I went into Solomon's in Westmall to buy it to make fun of Faris Al-Rawi. The greed that drives that animal, that he must make hundreds of millions of dollars from the state for he and his family to eat well so he could dress sharp and impress people who are paying for his clothes. They are actually paying for his clothes by their taxation that is being used to pay him for buildings that we do not need. Now, if we can't wake up and see where we are, if we can't wake up, look at this cup. You see me drinking my cup of tea? Before there was a Massey, there was Hilo. How long Hilo is Massey now? How long Hilo is Massey now? How long? 10 years? Is it 10 years yet? I don't know. I can't remember. Somebody tell me. 5 years, 10 years? Every year, when I used to shop in Hilo, I used to have a card, a smart shopper's card. And that card, I used to look forward to my points. At the end of the year, December, I would get a ham and turkey special, and then I would run through and see what my points allowed me to buy. And about 10 years ago, I bought this set of cups with my points in Hilo, not Massey, Hilo. And I got my points, and I got this. And it was 4 cups, 4 plates, 4 saucers. One of the cups broke, we down to 3. This is my teacup when I'm doing my live, and this is my water cup. This is a pep cup. This spoon is part of a set that I bought from PriceMart, $567 in their first year of operation. This is my spoon and my cup. Is Massey owned by Neil and Massey? Massey became... Cammy, you have a lot of questions, girl. Listen, the point I'm trying to make, and I want to stay on the point, is that consumption drives greed. And greed created the country that we're living in. Greed created the world that facilitated COVID-19 to travel around the world and infect and kill as many people as it did. Greed did that. Greed. When you think of all the work that you have been working for the sole purpose of paying bills for things you do not need, much more than you need to consume, just to impress other people who will not like you regardless. I'll never forget. I used to drive that 5 Series BMW that I bought second hand, but I used to drive it into BMW. And I had to ask the fella once, you all don't sell nothing here less than $5,000? And he laughed, and I laughed. But I realized I am just wasting money. Now, people used to love me in that Beamer. And I'm telling you, the people who advertise and promote that car lifestyle, you get what you pay for. But if that's what you want, and if you are somebody, they have an episode of Friends, and it makes the point, when Joey was standing up next to a Porsche, and he was washing it, and people thought it was his car. And it changed how they looked at him, and it changed how he looked at himself, until the man who owned the car came and moved the car. And then he was so caught up in it, and he couldn't afford one of his own, so he had to make a lie and live a lie until he was exposed. And that, it was funny, but it makes the point. And again, the point is, we have to take something away from COVID-19. And what I suggest that we take away is that we deserve government that care more about the people than the politics, that care more about the people than financial profits. We deserve a government that would have said, listen, Carnival is too big a risk. We will have mass. We will have Carnival, but the foreigners can't come. Sorry. We are closing the borders. They cannot come. And if they come, we will quarantine them for 14 days, and then they'll be stuck here because they can't leave. And we put in that sign up in the airport. If you're coming to stay at Trinidad for as long as COVID-19 exists, keep walking. If not, turn around. Cammy and Michael, I feel I need to stop talking while you all discuss the Massey and Hilo thing. Hilo was a brand in the Neil and Massey group that was rebranded to Massey. And every store and everything is now Massey this and Massey that. Massey Insurance, Massey Cars, Massey Motors, Massey Stores, etc. Stick a pin in that now. Don't get sidetracked with that. Yeah? The government that is rushing to prove that they could close borders now didn't close borders when it mattered. I'm not saying it don't matter now. It mattered more then. Because we knew. So you could have had carnival. Have your carnival. But no foreigners. Not this year. We could have done that. So we wouldn't have to be running for ventilators. And we wouldn't have to be interfering with the Heritage and Stabilization Fund. And we wouldn't have to be calling the IMF. We would have controlled and managed our nation through the storm. The countries that are successfully managing through the storm took massive action earlier. And we could have gotten. Suan Guy, how would we have gotten import cases if we had closed the borders and people couldn't get in the country? I'd love to hear your answer. All our supplies and all of our imports, we could have put sanitization regimes. And hey man, every container that come off the ships, 400 degrees steam clean on the outside. And leave it for 24 hours. Hot sun. Anyway, I'm not going to argue all of it. I look back at posts on Facebook and I realize you cannot free fools from their own chains. You can't if they love the chains. If what they want to do is, they have people who listen to learn. I am one of those people. If you have something to teach me, I will sit there in silence, If you're talking to me, people say I have little patience for stupidity, and that's not a lie. If you're talking to me and I interrupt you, it's because A, I know what you're saying, and B, you might be saying it wrong. I know what you're already saying, and B, you might be saying it wrong. But if you have something to teach me, I am rapt and attentive. There are a lot of people who listen not to learn, they listen to respond. And I can't change that. We need to culturally address that. We need to move from a nation that has most of our young girls taking their profile pictures for Facebook ass first. And if your life is about likes and shares on Instagram, I have some bad news for you. It's not going to last. It's not going to last. Be a person of substance. Live a life of value. Be responsible to your home, to your family, to your friends, to your community, to your country. Be that. You don't have to be a cult member of any party. When elections time come around, let all the parties talk. And choose. You know what? I honestly believe that I am hopeful today that I heard the most powerful country in the world face the truth, enunciate it, and set a course of action. I heard my Prime Minister earlier ramble on for about 3.5 hours. We don't know what this is, and we don't know how long it will be with us. So for as long as it's happening, we are going to pelt this and push that, and we'll stunt regularly here for you and bullshit the nation while we still try and find ways to make sure all of our financiers are still making megabucks. Because that's the takeaway. There was no hope in the rambling bullshit of the PNM government today. But I got hope from Donald Trump. And I know that what's going to happen in the United States of America is going to set the tone in the next couple of weeks. Yes, there are going to continue to be increases in cases, confirmations, and deaths. But you have to close the door on it, knowing that this curve is going to drop off. And isolation does that. Isolation breaks transmission. And that is why I and the Progressive Empowerment Party were the first people to say to Trinidad and Tobago, regardless of what the government is doing, isolate yourself. Protect yourself and your family. Protect it. But to the elders, please listen to me. Isolate yourself with vigor. You are at risk and you will not survive this. Your immune system will not fight it. If you are over 60, 70, 80 years old, isolate yourself. Cut yourself off. I went to drop ice cream for my mother last night. I had to put it on a wall. I went to drop 2 rotis from Santa Cruz for my mother and my father. I had to send my son to rest it on my sister's car and tell them, come and pick it out. They know the routine. Take it inside. Take it out of the bag. Throw in the bag. Sanitize your hands before you touch the food. It's my parents and I want them to stick around. And I don't want them to get COVID-19. So I will make that and I'll call them on the phone and I will listen to how frustrated they are. Because it's frustrating. A high point of their life was twice a week. Andre used to go there and train them. And that's been their life for over 2 years. And now it's gone. So they're pissed. And then they say, no, I'm watching the bad news on the TV as people get them all the bullshit about who dying. But all right, let's take this thing and kill it. So that the old people, if you are asthmatic, if you have HIV, if you are compromised in any way, and you know yourself, if you need medicating to survive the day, if you need it, isolate yourself. Lose the job if you have to. Lose the business if you have to. Start over. Where there is life, there is hope. You do not want to die for money. And there's a learning curve everywhere. And I want to promise you this. All of the talk about what is going to collapse and what is going to fail, that is a fact. But that is the law of the jungle. And what's going to happen is the same demand that we spoke about is going to drive new business. And there is money, and there is credit, and there's people looking for profit. And you and me will find opportunity in this. Look, he cough. I'm going nowhere. Home. Grocery when I need to. I'm going nowhere. We have one person in the company that does everybody's banking, so we limit the amount of us exposed in the banks and we rotate that. But I go nowhere. And I want you to know that there is an abundance of hope. COVID-19 is going to fail. It is going to die like every other virus we ever had. It is going to die and we will go forward as a people. Let's make sure that this disgusting experience gives us all a lesson, a takeaway that we will use to make sure this can happen again. I said to the world, any country including ours, where the people insist on eating wild and exotic animals, quarantine them for 14 days, anywhere they go. Quarantine them. As Giselle just mentioned, plenty of people still moving around. the Commissioner of Police sent out some information and he asked that we share it. And I want you to know this, that they've dedicated a phone number for you to call. Last night I went for a ride on my bicycle late at night, and so I am not in touch with anybody. Commissioner Griffith Commissioner of Police says the establishment of the OCC is to ensure that the public adheres to the new regulations. He's aware that people are still congregating in large numbers and this must be curtailed. He said this is an opportune time for citizens to utilize all forms of social media to report, post, take images of others in contravention of the new guidelines. There are three main tasks for the Operations Command Center: to support measures encouraging the adherence to new public health ordinance regulations and to manage and operate. Okay, where are the numbers? I think it's 482 Gary. This is it. That was all of that is A. The TTPS app. The Commissioner of Police calls on citizens to use the police service app. You see something, you say something to report persons who breach the regulations. All you have to do is download the TTPS app. Once that is done, you go on the right lower section of your phone, report crime. Just click on that and you will see options such as uploading photographs and videos. B, 482 Gary. The Commissioner of Police says the citizens can continue to send videos. Persons can also contact 555 where reports will be received. While I was riding, there was a place on Arapita Avenue that looked like a bar, and I just rode to the police station and I said, listen guys, I don't want to get nobody in trouble, but I think you should caution them because they contravening the rules, they putting everybody at risk and they're sending the wrong message. And the officer said, yes, absolutely, good night, Mr. Alexander. I was very proud of them, they knew who I was. And then I realized when I reached home to do the video, I was wearing the gunman green pep jersey that the world knows, and that's why I was telling you all that it was a well-known jersey. The purpose of me doing these live videos every night is to keep all of us some level of continuity, some level of sanity. I like that you're all able to message and call. Michael George saying it'll die, but it's going to take many, many more lives. That's not true. This is, I don't want to downplay it too much. But when it's over, you're not going to look at the numbers against what happens normally with flu every year or other things, and you're going to ask yourself, but we're not there yet, and I don't want to give anybody any opportunity to relax. We're going to shut it down and we're going to break it. We're here and we're going to protect the elders because that's the main concern. That's the main concern right now, that it's decimating them, and maybe we will come out of this better people. Let us stop being harbingers of doom. Okay, let's look for the positives and fill ourselves with hope. What does your company do? Among other things, communications. That's what I do. We've actually, the company that I own, have brought more people to the Caribbean in the last 25 years that have come here physically via Columbus. And one day, I'll tell you more. Ricky Ramkison said, as PM, I hope you find time every now and then to do one of these lives. Ricky, when I tell you, I want to do it close to every day. I want Trinidad and Tobago, of course then the numbers will be 1 million because everybody want to play, they want to talk and they want to shout at you and cuss you and all that drama. And I still want to be able to say, this is what we're trying to do. This is what should be done. Spruce up with zinc and vitamin C, Namala Maraj. I take magnesium and zinc every day. That's been my routine for about 2-3 years. I've just added time release, high dose vitamin C to that when this started. So yes, magnesium, zinc, vitamin C. Plenty fresh fruits. Pawpaw, guava. Felicia Holder has a guava tree. Call her. 769-4590. Message her. She's the chairman of the party and she have guavas to give away. And I know that if you're a member of the party in good standing and is one of those people that's helping her with all the things she's trying to accomplish, she will gladly give you some guavas. And one guava has 5 times the vitamin C of an orange. We're going to bring it to a close. Trinidad and Tobago, it was absolutely enjoyable being here with you tonight. And I look forward to us coming out of this within days, within weeks. This came, but it didn't come to stay. We will get past this. We will get past this. And the faster all of us take responsibility for our actions and for our fellow men and women, we will get past it faster. Let's make this country a better Trinidad and Tobago for ourselves and for future generations. Be honest, do you think what Keith Rowley doing a job? You left out a word, because be honest, don't you think Rowley doing a job in these times? He's doing a terrible, terrible reactive con job. I hate the job that he's doing. And it is my responsibility to poke holes in everything that he's doing so that you see, so that you know that it could have been done better, it should have been done better, and with a proper government it would have been done better. So it's your call to make after that. I'm not going to sit by and pretend that what they're doing is the best way possible for this. Anyway, until tomorrow, Trinbago. You want a song? Why is this in this order?
Rajin Najim Jim Jum.
Give me this to close.
Chana na 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 nazar. Chana na 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 nazar. चतुरंग को गाई रस रंग को सुनाऊंगा मैं चतुरंग को गाई रस रंग को सुनाऊंगा मैं राजिंदर जीम जीम जुम राजिंदर जीम जीम जुम जाना ना 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 नाजर जाना ना 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 नाजर चतुरंग को गाई रस रंग को सुनाऊंगा मैं चतुरंग को गाई रस रंग को सुनाऊंगा मैं राजिंदर जीम जीम जुम
your pills. $3 trillion spent, nothing to show. That's how it go in a land named Trinbago. Check this. Nothing, 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 nothing. Public health fail, public works fail, local government fail, central government fail. 57 years, tears. 57 years, praise. No bread in the kitchen, no gas in the car, no water in the pipe. Everybody by the bar, hole in the pavement, hole in your shoe, hole in your wallet. There's only holes for you. You want to see why it is jackasses in government? I'm going to read something to who's remaining here. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Roshan Parasam said almost 20,000 nationals returned to this country in the past 2 weeks. He reported that 19,852 people came to Trinidad through the airports in the past 14 days, which represented 0.15% of the population. If you look at the way we've been testing and you check that weight, you are looking at about 1,000 people possibly infected. I don't know now. I don't know, boy. I really don't know what we're going to do. I don't know. This much stupidity. That piece of news hit me. Let me see what happens after that. Yeah? Until tomorrow. Stay safe, Trinidad and Tobago.